Hello, everybody. Welcome to another BeadSmith Facebook Live. I'm Leslie Rogowski, Creative Director, here today to share with you the Primrose earrings, which I'm using to encourage you to explore different ways to use components. Taken from a pattern written by Nila Kabalova. That is in our I Love Beads library. This is hers and her version. And as always, this pattern is free for you to download. You can see she's got really nice photo step by step and takes you through stage 1 into stage 2 of making earrings that look like this. Or she'll take you in a separate step to add a bezeled cabochon or rivoli in hers. And what I started to play with when I started to do these was just bringing my own personal sense of color and things like that. They're really pretty, aren't they? Now she says that they're beginner to intermediate, but I think they're really beginner, advanced beginner. If you're familiar with working with little beads and needle and thread and 2-hole beads, then you will be good to go. So here's where I started. I made a component. So let's start with the materials first. We have Gemduos, Miniduos, which are just so cute, 3mm rounds. I'm using 3mm crystals here, these jet crystals. We also have size 11 beads. I'm ultimately working in 2 colors. And then we have 15s. I have these on a little piece of blue mat because they're very light colored lime green, and maybe this is a little tip for you. I work on light colored bead mats. I like this sort of neutral kind of manila folder color. So when I have really light beads, it's often hard for me to see them on my mat. So I have little swatches of a darker bead mat material, and I can just plop that onto my bead mat just underneath my light colored beads. So there's a tip for you. So I started to make these. It's a circular stitch, and really had some fun. You start off with Miniduos and add Gemduos, and you keep building out rounds, and then you come back into the center. My take on the cabochon was to use actually the 2-hole Baroque cabochons, which I had out on my desk and now can't find. But they actually have holes in them that you don't use when you do these components. My first pair I did just up to before the cabochon. I like a little more straightforward approach to design. So you can see I have the Miniduos in the center, 8 of them, Gemduos, then another round and another round on the outside, and I added jump rings to attach ear wires to. Then I started to play with color a little bit more. And that's what I'm going to demo for you today. So I went from these components to these components and decided I was going to sew a 4mm, in this case it's a Swarovski pearl, on the inside. And I really wanted something really bright colors. I mean, we're starting to head into the doldrums here. So let's get started. I'm going to show you kind of step by step how I did these. The first thing you do is on about a yard, 3/4 of a yard of thread, you're going to string 8 Miniduos and sew them, knot them into a circle like this. Then I found through my explorations that it was easier to add the little pearl in the center now rather than go back later and try to fit it in after I had all these beads. So this is just my tail thread and my working thread. I'm using size 12 beading needle with Fireline. Size 12 because I know I have 15s coming up later, and it helps me to know that they're going to slide nice and easy over a size 12. I think a size 11 needle would work too. Make sure before you work with any 2-hole beads that all the holes are open, because I did get to a point on one of these where I had the inner round of Miniduos and then the Gemduos, and I started to add the next round of seed beads, and I had a stuck hole and had to undo it and start over. So you want to make sure you check all the holes in the Miniduos and the Gemduos in this case. So I have it knotted. You never want to step up from the knot. So I'm going to sew through the inner ring just one bead away from the knot. I forgot I had the pearl already strung on there. How about that? Let's do this. So I'm going to sew through a 1 bead away from the knot. Pick up my center focal. Here in this case it's a 4mm pearl, crystal pearl. And you can see that I'm coming out beside a Miniduo. I'm going to sew up through the opposite Miniduo. So I have my pearl, and I'm going to sew from left to right through that little Miniduo. So the pearl sits centered. Now I'm going to sew back through the pearl and in the opposite direction through the bead that I just came out of. Now I can step up by sewing in the reverse direction again through the outer hole. And I'm ready for the next round. At this point I have taken my tail thread, strung it on another needle, and woven it in. So I'm coming out of one of the outer holes of the Miniduo, and I'm ready to add my Gemduos. My Miniduos are a neon fuchsia color, a matte, which is what makes them look so saturated. My Gemduos that I'm working with in this case are tropical mint, I think they're called. You want to make sure that they're face up. String 1 Gemduo. Sew through the next Miniduo. I love Gemduos. They just fit so nicely in everything. And you're going to do this all the way around. Make sure that they don't get caught on other beads and they sit nice like this until you get this. So here you have your Miniduos with the pearl already in, the tail thread woven in, and all your Gemduos. Now we're going to need to, and you make sure you come all the way around and sew through the first Gemduo that you first added in this round. We're going to step up and reverse direction again through the Gemduo. Now you may want to use a different color thread to match the Gemduos when you do this. I am using black primarily because it shows better when I show you guys. So you can see that it comes up the side. It's really it's very hidden, but you might want to use a lighter color. You can use Nymo on this. These do not need to, they don't take a lot of weight or friction or tension. So thread with a little bit of stretch is fine. So now we're going to work on, oh wait, I forgot a step, sorry. This is something else that I also am doing out of order from her tutorial, which is why I forgot. I like that there's these little 15s sewn in between the Gemduos. And I'm going to do that now too, so that it really helps to firm up the piece. So I'm going to pick up And I'm coming out of an inner hole of the Gemduo, and I'm going to sew around the circle and go through the next Gemduo. And it sits right there. Nice and easy. You can go all the way around. And you're going to fill all of them in. Until you have all of them strung around. I've come through the Gemduo, and now I've stepped up, so you can see. So I'm back where I was when before I forgot this. All right, the next step is to add 11s and the 3mm. So I'm going to take these away and bring these over. I'm going to use my orange 11s because they show up really nice with the jet. So you're going to pick up an 11, a 3mm and 11, and sew through the next Gemduo. And you keep doing this. It's very zen, actually. You're going to keep doing this all the way around, putting them in between. Make sure they fit nicely. And you're going to go all the way around until it looks like this. So I've gone all the way around and I'm coming out an 11. Now we're going to start the outer rim with the 15s and a little pop of color with an 11, and I changed my colors. So you can see how something like this you can really play with, changing up and adding more sounds, as we used to say in tap dance. So across the crystal section, you're going to sew 4 15s. So you're coming out of the 11, you're going to sew through the other 11, and those little 4 15s are going to make a nice clean arch across the crystal. Then when you get to the Gemduo, you pick up a 15, an 11, and a 15. So I'm picking up purple just to keep this fiesta flavor that I'm going, and bring another color in and go through the next 11. Then you pick up 4 15s and go through the next 11, bringing your 4 15s over the crystal. And you're actually going to keep doing that all the way around until you get back to the beginning, and it's going to look like this, and you'll be coming out of an 11. Now the last step for this Facebook Live tutorial is to show you how to add the little stem and jump ring to which you're going to attach your ear wire. So you want to make sure that you're coming out of one of these accent 11s that you just added in the last round. So coming out the 11, I now have to sew through the 4 15s, an 11, 1 15, and the 11. And I'll do that. Nice and easy. If you're working with a thread like Nymo, be careful you don't pierce the thread when you're going through this stage. So I'm going to come out. Look how fast these came together. I know I had them stepped out, but still. So I'm coming out the 11, the purple there, and I'm going to pick up an 11, another one of my center beads, my 4mm pearl. You could put the jet crystal there if you wanted to, and another purple, and a jump ring, a closed jump ring. And you want it to be closed so that the thread doesn't have any place to escape. So you're going to string the jump ring, and you know these beads fit through, they'll slide down through the jump ring. So I usually hold the jump ring and bring everything down and make sure that I don't let my beads come through there. You're going to sew back through the purple, the last purple strung, and the 4mm, and you're going to pull it all down to your beadwork. Now you can see that I'm coming out of the component 11 on my right side. So I'm going to sew through now. I'm going to pick up another 11 and I'm going to sew back through so I've made a circle. Get in there. Okay. There we go. And you're going to want to hold your jump ring and kind of wiggle it a little bit to make sure that it stays nice and straight. Now your thread's coming out this side. All you have to do now is weave your thread in to secure it and trim. And you're finished. Now when I say weave the thread in to secure, and you'll see this in a lot of tutorials where they may not tell you exactly what that means. It means you want to get your thread woven in so that it won't come loose. And helping to secure it is to find a place that's a little bit more discreet where you can make a half hitch around an existing thread. So I'm coming through the yellow 11 here and I'm up next to my dark jet crystal. There's a thread coming through that crystal. I'm going to loop around underneath it. And now I'm going to bring my needle through the loop of thread that I just made and make sure that that stays next to that crystal. Now I have a half hitch right in that little area that's going to help to hold my thread. And I will continue to weave through the beadwork through existing thread paths. It's probably easier to go through the crystal at this point than to try to get up through the little green beads. I say as I try to find my bead hole. There we go. And you're just going to sew through to secure it. And that's it. And you're done. There. So I would continue to sew this through a little bit. I'll go through the Gemduo. You know, it's hard. I'm sitting kind of away from my work. So there you go. All right. Then I'm going to grab my thread zap. If you don't know about this tool, get one. Watch. The tip will get hot. All I have to do is very carefully touch it to the thread. And there you go. Now I have a pair of earrings and a necklace. Primrose earrings with a smattering of seed beads, Gemduos, Miniduos, 3mm rounds, and something for your center if you want. These are perfectly lovely without anything in the middle, and it just has a nice negative shape in between the beads, so if you're wearing a bright color, it's going to show through even more. So I am Leslie Rogowski, telling you that you can find everything you've seen here and other BeadSmith quality tools and supplies from your favorite bead reseller. Give them some love this holiday season. They all need it. Don't we all need it? We love beads. See ya!